Good morning, everyone. I'd like to tell you about a museum in London, but it's a very special one because it's a ship. During one of my trips to London, I heard about this museum and I wanted to know it. Since I was a child, I've been very interested in history of the 20th century, especially on both world wars, and I visited many museums all over the world dedicated to this topic. The name of the ship is HMS Belfast. Let's understand HMS as His Majesty's Service. HMS Belfast's contraction began in 1936 and was launched on March 17, 1938. Commissioned in early August 1939, shortly before the outbreak of World War II. Belfast was initially part of the British naval blockade against Germany. In November 1939, Belfast struck a German mine and, in spite of fears that she would be scrapped, spent more than 2 years undergoing extensive repairs. Belfast returned to action in November 1942 with improved firepower, radar equipment, and armor. Belfast saw action escorting Arctic convoys to the Soviet Union during 1943 and, in December 1943, played an important role in the Battle of North Cape, assisting in the destruction of the German warship Chance Horst. In June 1944, Belfast took part in Operation Overlord, supporting the British and Canadian Normandy landings on what was called D-Day. That was the beginning of the liberation of France and Europe from the Nazi tyranny. At 5:30 a.m. on June the 6th, Belfast opened fire on a German artillery battery at Berg-sur-Mer, suppressing the guns until the site was overrun by the British infantry. A number of further overseas commissions followed before she entered reserve in 1963. A special anecdote about the Belfast during World War II is that, like any ship worth its salt, it had a cat on board. This is a photo of Frankenstein, as the sailors called him, looking out to sea in 1941. In 1967, efforts were initiated to preserve her as a museum ship. A joint committee of the Imperial War Museum, the National Maritime Museum, and the Ministry of Defense was established and then reported in June 1968 that preservation was practical. In 1971, the HMS Belfast Trust was created to campaign for her preservation. The efforts of the trust were successful, and the government transferred the ship to the trust in July 1971. Brought to London, she was moored on the River Thames near Tower Bridge in the Pool of London. Opened to the public in October 1971, Belfast became a branch of the Imperial War Museum in 1978. Since 1973, she has been a popular tourist attraction. Belfast receives over 400,000 visitors per year. As a branch of a national museum and part of the National Historic Fleet, Belfast is supported by the Department for Culture, Media and Sport, admissions income, and the museum's commercial activities.